Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You already know who it is. It's your boy, the Nature Boy. Woo! Back with another video for you guys here today, and today we got another good one. Today we are going to be counting down the top 15 best devil fruits in the series. So regardless of the user, the fruit itself, how good is that fruit? And today we're going to be counting down the top 15 best. So getting right into it, starting at number 15, we have the Hito Hito no Mi Model Daibutsu, and this is Sengoku's Buddha Devil Fruit. Now, this already, just to start off, is a mythical Zoan Devil Fruit, which we know are the best type of Devil Fruits in the entire series. Better than Logias, better than Ancient Zoans, better than regular Zoans, better than Paramecias. The mythical Zoans are the best of the best, and from all of the ones we've seen so far, I think Sengoku's is one of the best ones with his Buddha form. We've barely seen much of it. However, we've seen enough to know he grows to become gigantic in size, larger than I think even the giants there, or close to it, very large in size. He looks very durable in that state, and we already know Zoans and mythical Zoans especially gain significant durability boosts, significant strength boosts, and I can only imagine he did as well. Now, we also saw with Blackbeard that he has shockwaves, which are devastating. They may not be as devastating as the quakes when you hit with, but they look damn near just as devastating, as we saw with Blackbeard and the Blackbeard Pirates in one hit, temporarily taking down all of them for a split second. So his fruit, very OP. From just a little bit we've seen, we don't even know that much about it, but it looks absolutely amazing. Next up at number 14, we have the Doku Doku no Mi. This is the Venom fruit that we saw with Magellan in Impel Down. This fruit is absolutely OP. Took out Luffy. It absolutely took out Luffy where he almost died. This fruit kills as well. This fruit is one of those fruits where, unless you're a really good hockey user, this will kill you if you get covered with it. As we saw with Luffy, he was on the verge of death where he had to sacrifice some of his lifespan just to continue to survive and to keep going. And eventually, yes, he did become immune to it, which is why it's a little bit lower on the list. But in a fight, this is one of the best fruits that you can have, because if the person doesn't even have hockey, it's already a wrap. And if they do, they're still going to have to struggle to stay away from your venom. So this fruit is absolutely amazing. Number 13, we have the Nikyu Nikyu no Mi, the Pawpaw fruit, and we see this with Bartholomew Kuma. Now, with Kuma, this fruit we saw a lot of. So we may not have seen a lot of Sengoku's fruit, a lot of Magellan's, but with Kuma, I think we definitely saw enough to know it is one of the best fruits in the series. He's able to teleport people halfway across the new world in one sweep. He's able to absorb attacks in his paw. He's able to deflect attacks. He's able to condense the air itself, take as much air as he possibly can, and condense it into one little tiny ball with the impact of basically as much as you can imagine, all in that little air ball, which was able to take out Oris Jr. in basically one shot. He was able to one-shot Oris Jr. with this. And as we saw in Thriller Bark, he was able to one-shot the entire island of Thriller Bark, including all of the Straw Hats, with this one move. So the Nikyu no Mi, extremely impressive. Number 12, we have the Sushi no Mi, which is the Press fruit, or Gravity, with Isho Fujitora. This fruit I wanted to put higher up. I don't know if 12 is enough for it, but it's just that every other fruit that I have higher up on this list, as I'm looking at now, is extremely impressive as well, and I had to put them above Fujitora. But usually, if you were to say this is a top 10 devil fruit, I would agree with you, because to be able to just control gravity itself, do I even need to explain it? To control gravity itself in the world of One Piece is such an OP power, where we see him being able to take guys like Zoro all the way down, hundreds of feet down below into the ground. And these are hockey users. He's able to summon meteorites from the sky and blast them wherever he wants to. He's able to lift objects. He's able to send massive objects come crashing down. He takes all the rubble in the kingdom of Dressrosa and just rushes it all down. Incredible fruit, and very good for destructive power and area of attack, or area of effect. Number 11, we have the Tori Tori no Mi Model Phoenix, and this is Marco's mythical Zoan Phoenix fruit. Like I said, mythical Zoans, the best of the best. Peak durability, peak endurance, all of that. But Marco takes it to a whole other level. As we know, phoenixes are known for regeneration, and Marco takes that and uses it to full advantage, where he is constantly able to regenerate. He is constantly able to take these hits, and because of this allows him to fight with admirals head-on, toe-to-toe, evenly at Marineford. This allows him to take on Yonko commanders 2 against 1, where he fights King and Queen together at once. This allows him to fight Big Mom one-on-one. And although he may not be winning these fights, because of his fruit, he is able to do this in the first place to begin with. Because without his fruits, he's not doing any of that. This fruit practically makes you invincible for a short period of time, where the only way anyone will be able to take you down is to A, be a really good Haki user, and B, have a full-out, long-lasting fight with you, where the effect is no longer, you're not going to be able to regenerate fast enough to heal. But in short term, there is no better devil fruit to have than Marco. So number 11 on this list. Now we get into the top 10. This is where it gets interesting. At number 10, we have the Hobi Hobi no Mi, Sugar's fruit. This fruit may not be, it may be overlooked a lot in this series because it belongs to someone who's not that relevant and was only relevant in one arc. However, this is without a doubt a top 10 devil fruit in the series. This fruit allows you, with a mere touch, to turn anybody you touch into a toy that obeys your commands. And not only this, but this is already OP as hell because all you have to do is touch them. But the scariest part about this fruit is that when you do touch them and when you do turn them into a toy, everyone else's memories of this person's entire existence ceases to exist, where they no longer exist in anyone's memory, I guess besides your own, or whoever sees them in this toy form, which is absolutely incredible because this devil fruit, upon one touch, not only affects the one person that got touched, but practically affects every single person in the world that knew that person. So let's say she touched Nami, or she touched someone extremely weak like Nami or Usopp in the crew, and they turn into a toy. That would then affect Luffy and Zoro and Sanji. Even though she may not be able to do that to them with their Haki, they would not have any memory of this person existing. And just like that, that person is gone. So this is such a dangerous and OP devil fruit. Absolutely incredible and definitely belongs in the top 10. Moving on to number 9, we have the Soru Soru no Mi, or the Soul Soul fruit, which belongs to Yonko Big Mom. This fruit I had to put above Sugar's because this fruit controls souls, and it controls the soul in anyone's body. It controls the soul in her own body, and it allows her to put souls in non-living objects. So we see her use this fruit in so many different ways. We see her being able to take lifespan away from those that she wants to take it away from, to the point where she can practically just pull their life out of them. If she takes all of their lifespan, she practically pulls their life away, as we saw with Pedro's partner. I will never be able to remember that name. It's been a long time, but with Pedro's partner, she just killed him right there, grabbing his soul. Pedro, I believe she took 50 years out of his life just like that. So that's one way she uses her fruit. Another way is she can take that life that she has, which she also uses, which I think is so incredible, that she taxes the people who lives in her kingdom, Totland, and she taxes them and takes their lifespan on a regular basis as payment for living there. And with all this lifespan, she then gives it to non-living objects that not only live but obey her every command, as you see with Prometheus, Zeus, Napoleon, Hera, countless thousands and thousands and thousands of trees, plants, weapons, random objects all across Totland obey her every command. So she has an army of that alone, along with her own army. And then on top of that, in her fight with Law and Kid, if you are reading the manga, spoiler alert if you are not, we see her able to use this fruit to take some of her own lifespan and heal broken arms, broken ribs, damaged, any part of her body that is damaged, she can fix just like that. It may not be to the effect of a Marco because it costs her, but with that cost, it fixes everything, which is absolutely incredible. And in that moment of a fight, that will help you significantly. And this fruit is just absolutely amazing. And the scary thing is we don't even know if we saw the awakening yet. But I think we do, but it has not been confirmed, so I do have to mention that. Moving on to number 8. And number 8, this is where we get into the big Logias of this series, because we all know how good all those top Logias are. And we're going to start off with the Magu Magu no Mi, the Magma Fruit by Akainu. What else needs to be said? This fruit is magma. You control magma, you are magma, You can summon eruptions, volcano eruptions, whatever you want. With his fists, he tends to have a lot of magma fist punches that go right through your opponent. Now, if we look at the series, anytime people tend to take attacks, they tend to take that attack and it does damage, but we don't physically see the damage. Maybe if they're swordsmen, we can see the cuts and the wounds, but with most punches, we will just see someone get punched and we can tell they got really damaged. But with Akainu, it's life-lasting damage. If he punches you and if he gets a clear punch, you either A, die, like Ace and Whitebeard, or B, your life is changed forever from that one hit, like Jinbei and Luffy, where they're never going to be the same after that one single punch. So his fruit is absolutely devastating. We see he's able to send hundreds and hundreds of fists up in the air, volcano fists that come crashing down like practically like a natural disaster, or like it looks like doomsday, it looks like the end of the world coming at you, just from him being able to do that, which seems like something he can do on a regular basis. Him and Aokiji practically changed the climate of an entire island fighting. So this fruit is incredible, and with Logias, again, they can change entire climates. So they are some of the best, and that's why I saved the Logias for the absolute top of this list, because I think Logias, at the end of the day, unless it's a mythical zone, they have you beat. Speaking of Aokiji, at number 7, we have the Hihi no Mi, or the ice fruit, held by Aokiji. Now, this fruit is absolutely incredible. This fruit freezes people, freezes water, freezes yourself. We see with Aokiji, he's able to he takes a piece of grass, throws it in the air, and blows it into ice, and becomes a blade that he can use at the moment. So incredibly versatile. But the reason I have this fruit above Aokiji's, even though they are both Logias, they both have the basic Logia effects, and they both are incredible with attacks. Aokiji is able to affect water, and water is like 90% of the world of One Piece. And he is the only guy who, if he is falling into the water and lands in the water, does not have to worry, because he can freeze the water the second he lands on it, and it becomes a solid surface for him to walk on. Anyone else in the series, no matter how strong you are, we've seen that Yonko, Big Mom herself, fall into the water, Luffy fall into the water, and they are helpless. At the end of the day, no matter how strong they are, once they crash into the water, that is it, unless someone comes and helps them. They are at the mercy of fate. Aokiji controls his fate in this scenario where he is able to freeze the water, and because of that, I had to have him higher than Akainu's fruit on this list. So the ice fruit at number 7, possibly even higher. Fantastic devil fruit. But at number 6, here comes another fantastic Logia that I had to put above it, is the Goru Goru no Mi, the lightning fruit, held by Enel. This fruit is so damn OP, man. And the fact that we saw such a weak fighter, not at the time, but now we look back, and all these guys are significantly stronger than him. He didn't even have Haki. And he was able to use that fruit in such incredible ways. And that the fruit itself, first of all, basic Logia abilities, just like the two I mentioned before. Then it electrocutes you, which I think is even more devastating than magma and ice, is if you get electrocuted. And he controls, in one word, or just by his will, he controls the amount of voltage he puts into that electricity. So if he wants to just stun you a little bit or shock you, if he wants to take you down, or if he wants you practically wiped off the face of the planet, he's able to do that. We see him send that from up in the sky, send lightning bolts down crashing, destroying an entire island in Skypiea, just like that. There was a reason they called him a god, and even though he ended up not being a god, ironically enough was defeated by the sun god, he was, with his powers, he was able to be perceived as a god, because his powers were so almighty, so to speak, that they were so hard for anyone to control. And the only reason Enel was even taken down to this day is because he went up against a man made of rubber, which was the only person in the world that was a direct counter to the lightning fruit. So lightning fruit at number 6, fantastic, in my opinion, better than the Magu Magu and the Ice. So now we get into the top 5, and this is where it gets good. And continuing on with the top 5, we got another Logia ability, and this time we have the Yami Yami no Mi, held by Blackbeard. There is a reason this man set out and waited patiently for decades and decades and decades for this one single fruit. By the end of the series, this might be number 1 on this list. I don't know, because we haven't seen Blackbeard go all out with this fruit yet. However, from what we do know and from the basics of it alone, it is automatically top 5. Because we know it is darkness, and we know it is able to absorb anything. Literally anything. Not only is it able to absorb anything, but it will absorb anything. Because we know even involuntarily when Blackbeard gets attacked, his fruit absorbs this attack without him wanting it to, which makes him feel multiple times the damage over as much as anyone else would. Far more painful for him. But with that con comes a whole lot of pros. And we know he's able to summon black holes. He is able to, in one touch on the floor, able to suck down the entire town into darkness. He's able to suck people into darkness. And when he uses liberation, he's able to bring all of that come crashing down on you again. So the same way Fujitora can send things crashing down on you, although in a different way, Blackbeard can do the same thing in one little way of his fruit. And there's so much more he can do. Black Vortex, he can suck you in. And upon all of this, the best part of his fruit is when he touches you, if you have a devil fruit and he gets a hold of you, your devil fruit is negated in that moment for as long as the contact remains. So Blackbeard's fruit is just absolutely incredible. And to be honest, I think when we actually see him go all out with it, God forbid he awakens it, it is going to be a top 2 devil fruits in this series. But for now, 5. And moving on to number 4. At number 4, we have the ultimate Logia ability, in my opinion, in the One Piece world. The best Logia ability that there is. And of course, I'm talking about the Pika Pika no Mi, or the Glint Glint, or Light Light fruit held by Kizaru, Admiral Kizaru. And this fruit is the peak fruit for Logias. Upon all Logias, it has the basic Logia abilities. Everything goes right through you. He may not be able to put holes through you like Akainu. He may not be able to freeze you like Aokiji, but within a point of his finger, he's able to damage guys like Yonko Whitebeard significantly. And with that same finger, he's able to kill some people just simply pointing a finger at them and shooting laser beams. He is able to travel at the speed of light, faster than anyone else in the series. Incredibly fast, as we saw with Supernova. Hawkins wasn't even able to understand. He was watching what happened to Apu, and before his brain could even process it, he was being kicked in the face. As he was being kicked in the face, he was still seeing Kizaru half a mile away, kicking Apu. Such incredible powers. He is able to, we saw with his kicks are able to destroy those giant trees in Sabaody in one shot, like when Rayleigh blocks it. He is able to do so much with this fruit. It is incredible. He is able to create swords just like that and fight Rayleigh sword to sword in battle. Such an incredible fruit. And the craziest thing is Kizaru is lazy. So compared to Akainu and Aokiji, he's far more lazy. And if he was on Punk Hazard fighting to the death, I can't even imagine. If that's what their fruits did, I can't even imagine what his fruit would do. We know it's not a climate type fruit, so it wouldn't change the climate, but I think it will do something far more devastating. And with his fruit being awakened, God knows what else it can do. Devastating fruit, in my opinion. Absolutely incredible. And that's why I have it at number 4. At number 3, we have the Hito Hito no Mi Model Sun God Nika. This fruit belongs to Luffy, as we all know, after 1043 and 1044. Anything that you want to achieve with this fruit, practically you can. It is a fruit that brings imagination into reality. It is a fruit that gives you incredible durability boosts, as I said, incredible strength boosts, which comes with all mythical zones. However, with this one, even more so. Grants you the properties of rubber, grants you phenomenal endurance, phenomenal strength, and this is the only fruit that I know of that in some way, shape, or form changes your personality almost. And I don't think this is confirmed, but this very much is hinted at, because once Luffy ate this fruit, he became more. But the very next panel, we see the fisherman telling him you became much more joyful. You're in a very happy mood today. And even when he is in his awakened form, he is far more playful, far more laid back, and just happy when he is in that awakened form. So this fruit goes to levels deeper than any other fruit could even think of. This fruit hits very deep, where it changes practically everything about you. And even though I have it number 3 in this list, I will say this: if there is any fruit synonymous with the term invincible, it is this fruit, the Hito Hito no Mi Sun God Nika. So now we go into the top 2. At number 2, we have the Gura Gura no Mi, or the Quake Quake fruit, held by Whitebeard, and later on in the series, held by Blackbeard. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, without any doubt whatsoever, the most destructive fruit in the entire series. This fruit is so destructive that with Sengoku, with Garp, with 3 admirals in their prime, with every vice admiral, with 100,000 of the strongest marines in the world gathered at Marineford, going up against one pirate crew and his alliance of, I believe, 47 ships, they said that he had the power to not only destroy the world, but he had the power to beat them in that fight, where Sengoku says we could still very much lose this fight because of Whitebeard and his fruit. And this is very true because right away we see he's able to summon tsunamis. It's massive waves of tsunamis come crashing down, larger than Marineford itself. And if it wasn't for Aokiji, that would have been it for the Marines. He is able to cause earthquakes. He's able to split the island intentionally in a way that he wants to, where he's on one side and his crew is safe on the other side. He is able to use quake punches. He is able to tilt the world and tilt the oceans itself. This devil fruit, let me make this as clear as possible. This devil fruit can control the world itself. He can affect the world that every single person is living in, where we see so many people, when he tilts the world, even Luffy was about to die by falling down those cracks if it wasn't for Jinbei saving him. And this is unintentional. This is Whitebeard when he is trying to be safe so he can save Ace. Had there been no allies of Whitebeard there and it was just Whitebeard on his own coming and Ace wasn't there, and he had absolutely no restrictions with his fruit, I think we would have seen some stuff that would have put this fruit at number 1 in the entire series, because there is a reason they call him the world's strongest man. There is a reason they were afraid that he was going to beat all of them at Marineford, and there is a reason they say he has the power to destroy the world, because this fruit can do that. And in my opinion, we haven't even seen the awakening of this fruit yet, because most of the things we saw Whitebeard do, like tilting the world or breaking the ground or quake punches, we were able to see Blackbeard do immediately upon having the devil fruit. So this is the basics of the devil fruit. The basics. We haven't even seen the awakening. So Gura Gura no Mi, number 2 on this list. And I think number 1 was very obvious from the beginning, because even though I said all of these fruits are very good at number 10, I think number 1 is head and shoulders above the rest. I think number 1 is a very clear number 1, and it is the best devil fruit in the series in my opinion. And of course, I think you all already know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Opi Opi no Mi, or the Op fruit, the Operation fruit, held by Trafalgar Law. Now, just like how Blackbeard was looking for the Yami Yami forever, this fruit was searched by Corazon, by Doflamingo, by the Marines, by so many people for a very long time. The fruit itself was valued at 5 billion berries by the Marines. It was valued as much as Whitebeard's head, the greatest or the second greatest pirate of all time, the strongest man in the world. They valued this fruit just as much as his head. So that already speaks volumes about this fruit. Now, let's look at what we've seen from this fruit. Law creates a room. Anything in that room, he is in charge of. He is in charge of the gravity in that room. He is in charge of the body structures in that room, where he can take your head off, he can take your arms off, just like that. He can teleport himself, he can teleport you. So already, just with that room and all these things he was able to do. Okay, now, with things like Gamma Knife, or Shock Willy, or Puncture Willy, we see that he's able to use electrocution attacks as well. He's able to use electric shocks with his fruit. He's able to summon bolts like we saw with Kaido, and use that bolt to dig into Kaido, find his heart, and electrocute him. So that's already an entire separate use of the devil fruit. Now, Corazon's devil fruit allows him to silence everything within a space, and anything outside of that space cannot hear inside. And Law is able to use this entire ability also simply within his own fruit. He is able to teleport. He's able to use defenses. He's able to summon barriers, just like Bart. He's able to summon barriers with his fruit. Practically, if we're being honest, this fruit allows you to do anything. As long as it is within your room, you are allowed to do anything virtually possible whatsoever. And As we see now, Law very experienced with this fruit. His rooms can be extremely, extremely enormous to the point where Punk Hazard Law, such a long time ago, was able to cut Virgo, cut all the SAD machines, and cut the entire mountain of Punk Hazard clean in one slice, in one simple slice. To me, ironically enough, because it's the use of his Devil Fruit, it is the best swordsman, the best sword feat we have seen in the entire series. Because to me, that's more impressive than what Mihawk did with Ice Mount. It's more impressive than what Oden did with the Boar. It's more impressive than anything Zoro's done, or when he cut Pika. In terms of swordsmanship, it's the best swordsman feat, even though it is a Devil Fruit feat. There is so much that he can do with this fruit, and even with his awakening now, we see with Shockarili, we see with Kroom, what he's able to do with Kroom, where he's able to increase the size of his sword as long as possible, go right through you, shock you, do whatever he wants. So the best Devil Fruit in this series, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, at number 1 is Law's Devil Fruit. So that is my list, guys, for the top 15 best Devil Fruits in this series. I want to hear your guys' opinions on what are the best Devil Fruits in this series. So comment down below your top 10 best Devil Fruits in the series as well. I want to know what are the most popular ones here, and let me know down below, guys, if you agree, if you disagree. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, guys, I'll see you soon. Take care.